reportedly does all this while their daughter is in the home and then takes the daughter out to eat Thanksgiving dinner with their family.
Something desperately wrong. I'll get to Judith on that in a second. You just mentioned this child. It's an infant, right? Toddler?
She's 1 year old.
1 year old. Do you know if the child witnessed this, was exposed to it at all?
Investigators believe that the child was in another room confined to a playpen, so thankfully they do not think that she witnessed her own mother's murder.
All right. Dr. Joseph, the psyche of a man who would murder the mother of his child. I mean, it's a strange, bizarre process, but then to do it in the way that it was apparently done, in such a brutal way, is also worrisome.
Dr. Oz, this is classic sociopathy. Sociopaths are charming, they're manipulative, and most importantly, they are dangerous. And think about this. Imagine that he lured a woman over romantic candlelight to her death, and not thinking about his daughter in the next room. This poor little girl who's going to grow up for the rest of her life without her mother, because sociopaths lack empathy. And then look at how messy the murder was. Sociopaths are hot-headed, they're impulsive. So think about how manipulative and charming someone has to be to trick one woman to her death and then trick another woman into cleaning things up.
Let's talk about the other woman for a second. So Patrick Frazee's mistress, Crystal, is charged with tampering with evidence and is now testifying against Frazee. So Marta, what do we know about Crystal's side of this case? This guy was so manipulative, he had two women liking him, even though he's a murderous scoundrel.
Yeah, it gets even more bizarre. So investigators say that Crystal Lee, the alleged mistress, told them that Frazee had tried to get her to kill Kelsey on 3 different occasions. The first time, she was supposed to pose as a new neighbor, show up at her door with a poisoned coffee. She was supposed to bring her a caramel macchiato spiked with prescription drugs. The other 2 times, he asked her to beat her to death. Now, she says that she never had the nerve to do any of it. She couldn't carry out these plans. Then Frazee allegedly got impatient and decided to do it himself. But after the alleged murder, he calls Crystal and he says to her, and this is a quote, "You have a mess to come clean up." She then gets in her car, drives 700 miles from Idaho to Colorado. This is what she's telling investigators happened. And she spends 4 hours cleaning up the crime scene, which includes scrubbing blood off the floors and the walls and retrieving one of Kelsey's dislodged teeth. She then accompanies him to burn the body and takes the cell phone, Kelsey's cell phone, back with her to Idaho and disposes of the cell phone. This is the extent of her involvement in this.
So she's being accused of tampering with evidence, Jesse. Please outline to us what that actually means from a legal perspective. What kind of jail time are we talking about? And then I want to get into why she would even do this.
Sure. So she pled guilty to the tampering with evidence charge, and that's a pretty serious offense. We're talking about a Class 6 felony. It carries with it fines, probation, and up to 3 years in prison. But we know that she is providing a treasure trove of information against Frazee, incriminating information. Now, in my opinion, this is just my belief, she worked out a deal with prosecutors to not get as strict a sentence, or maybe no additional charges will be filed against her in exchange for this very vital and incriminating information.